Ethereum at a key turning point is going to have to make a decision in the coming hours. VE Chain also in an extremely interesting position, which could see a big move very shortly. As well, in today's episode, we're going to look at a recent ICO which has done up to 1800% in just a very few weeks, and I'm going to show you how to get involved in that. Hello guys, and welcome to the House of Crypto. I make videos about Ethereum, VE Chain and other cryptocurrencies. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on the way in to be kept up to date with all of the latest Ethereum news, cryptocurrency news, as well as chart analysis. Without further ado then, let's jump into the first piece of news from Ethereum for today. Over on the Bitcoinist, we're going to look at why Vitalik Buterin thinks that Ethereum is a threat to its competitors, despite there being a lot of talk from ADA supporters, etc., who think that Ethereum is way too overpriced and not competitive anymore. Okay, so what he's saying in this article here, for Buterin, the toughest part about working in Ethereum is beyond its technical challenges. The human factor has been the project's greatest issue and the major reason for delays in some of the components, Buterin said. Okay, so what he's saying is he's obviously, got a brilliant mind. He's got a great idea of what he wants to happen with the project. What he's finding difficult is to find a team or build a team that is able to understand perhaps his idea and how to drive that forward quickest. Okay, so the proof of work to proof of stake, he says, should have taken around a year, but actually has taken more like 6 years, which is obviously a huge increase on the time, and another reason why we're seeing similar things with ETH 2.0, saying that actually the problem can be often the team that he is working with. Okay, so where a lot of other coins such as Binance Coin, etc., have gone straight towards scalability, both ETH and ETH 2.0, two of them stack up on each other. So once you have a roll up and sharding, Ethereum and things on top of Ethereum will actually be able to have the kind of scalability and large scale and enterprise applications that they're expecting. Okay, so a lot of concerns are coming in about Ethereum being able to scale, being able to cut down on gas fees, etc. But he's still promising that this ETH 2.0 is going to come forward and provide all the promises that it's been doing. And the reason probably for that is I've seen a number of critics recently saying that Ethereum 2.0 doesn't necessarily deliver on what it says it's going to deliver on. So it's obviously going to be a matter of time. Obviously, you've got two sides now saying different things about the project. But, as an Ethereum holder, being that it's been in the ecosystem for such a long time and it's finding these problems are actually just an issue of its own success. Now, they're obviously very aware that they're trying to overcome these problems, and to enable it to happen has been a bit of a challenge, more on the team side of things. Okay, so he's saying the competition is intense with Cardano, Polkadot, Solana, Binance Smart Chain, and others building their own approach to smart contracts and DeFi. Over time, Buterin believes Ethereum itself will become a threat to any other platform. Okay, obviously it's the original, and there are other cryptocurrencies in the space, and I'm not taking away from any of those others. It's taken a very long time for Ethereum to get to where it is, and these other cryptocurrencies are very new to the scene and perhaps haven't had to deal with the scalability issues that Ethereum is now facing. Now, you know that Ethereum upgrades are just around the corner, and this might have a big impact on the price. You would expect perhaps the price to be moving a bit more rapidly than it is at the moment. But as we've mentioned previously, Bitcoin plays a big part in the market. Bitcoin basically took that crash and then dragged the rest of the market with it. So it's going to take a bit of time for people to regain confidence in the market before they're willing to get back into it. Now, this is the 4-hour chart on Ethereum. And as yesterday, we talked about this rising wedge pattern. And as you can see, we're still well in play with inside that. I've actually drawn another couple of lines in here to signify something that I'm paying close attention to. As you can see, at the moment, we seem to have been finding resistance around this area. And if we draw a line back across, we can see another number of places. We've also found support within the bigger structure of this triangle. And also we've got this falling, which is bringing it more into a sort of symmetrical triangle shape. Again, kind of similar to what we're seeing on the Bitcoin chart. And I want to zoom in closer to the 15-minute chart, not something I normally do, but we can kind of see as things sort of move, all the structures we see in the bigger charts all exist in the smaller charts as well. So we can just see what's going to happen on a very short term or a much more short term basis. And as you can see, this is the line that I was talking about that I've drawn in, where we found resistance here. And again, we turned it into support. And this has happened over the last sort of 12 12 or so hours. And actually what's good to see is we did have a breakout of this sort of descending triangle pattern, and as you can see it's confirming now. So as long as we can hold above this line, then I don't think we're going to take a revisit towards the $2,300 level. Now as long as this line here holds up, I'm not sure if we're going to take a visit back down towards these levels, but if we do, then expect that we potentially could find support here and bounce back up. But then, this makes it again very uncertain. So at the moment, as with all the cryptocurrencies, we're sort of playing around in the middle of this chart pattern, which, because it's such a big pattern, has a big swing in range of price. So, from the down of around $2,360 all the way to the top, up towards the $3,200 level. Okay. So again, I know it sounds a bit difficult, and a lot of people are saying that they're often waking up to trades that are down, etc. But we need to trade from positions of strength, okay? So waiting, being patient for the trade to come, rather than jumping in on trades that we're not sure about yet. I recommend also not trading, despite looking at shorter term trading patterns, not trading from shorter term patterns, because they do tend to be much more volatile and things do happen much more quickly on this scale, when actually we want to be looking at the macro or the bigger picture. As I mentioned yesterday, a lot of cryptocurrencies are following a very similar pattern to Bitcoin, and VE Chain is doing something very similar. Again, obviously had this huge drop to the downside before this consolidation, and again, if you see, this is very similar to the Bitcoin chart, in fact, where we're seeing sort of around the middle ground, finding quite a difficult bit of resistance area to get through. And as you can see in the past, this offered us resistance. It did come up and sort of provide a bit of support here, which, as you can see on this area here, has now been turned into resistance. But still, VE Chain remains one of my favorite projects. There's obviously a huge player in China at the moment, and China, obviously the economy is booming, whereas much of the rest of the world is suffering due to the coronavirus. Now jumping back to the 4 hour on Ethereum, and this is the same with most of the cryptocurrency market at the moment. We had this sort of big spike of volume around the top area here, and what we're seeing now is volume starting to fall down, and that's very positive, in line with this pattern here, showing us that soon we're going to have a big move. And the reason that we get big moves when the volume is low, doesn't take a huge amount of trading in one direction to move the market very quickly. So that means that if there one or two big buys comes in, we can see a big pump to the upside, and likewise, a big kind of sell-off, etc., can see us drop very quickly. As we've seen a lot of whales accumulating down at these levels, I think the big sell-offs are actually sort of behind us, in my opinion. Most of the big sell-off happened on the way down, or probably a lot of big whales were selling up here before this sort of dump to the downside, and those smaller wallets as well have been loading up their bags. So actually, if we do see sell-offs now, it's more going to be sort of the small players in the game, who perhaps still, maybe bought up here and are still holding and are sort of losing faith as we continue to go sideways. It always feels like a really long time in crypto when we spend days sort of down, where we're sort of waiting. Actually, over the period of a couple of weeks, we've been playing around in this pattern down here, but actually in the grand scheme of things, that's actually not very long at all. And within very short time periods, we can actually see big moves to continue on with where we are. So at the moment, this consolidation is nothing but healthy, and nothing that we should necessarily be worried about, unless, of course, that we come down and we start to retest this level around here, in which case, if we are to break out at the bottom of this pattern, we can see a sizable drop, in my opinion. Now, obviously, while the rest of the cryptocurrency market has been pretty boring, there's other cryptocurrencies that are still doing very well, and I've mentioned this Emerald Rockets various times on my channel. I mentioned it at 1 cent back on, I think, the 15th of May, and currently it's trading today at 18 cents, okay, which is 1,800% increase in price. So if you got involved in that, well done. Now, one thing I really wanted to draw your attention to today, as in terms of what I see as a really good opportunity. Yesterday we saw a spike up to 27 cents, or just over 27 cents, and we've seen this drop. Obviously, it's a smaller project, it's new to the game, and when they do have big sell-offs, where people are probably going to be taking profits, because at the moment, it did start and it went up what, 2,700% in the space of about 2 weeks, people are obviously going to start taking profits. But when we see these sell-offs, actually it then gives more people an opportunity to buy in again at lower prices. And in my opinion, we're going to see this push back to the upside. It's a utility token that's working alongside tuition brokers, which is solving the student debt problem by providing online education. It hopes to be the Expedia of education, providing education courses at a fraction of the cost, which is obviously great for students, as well as allowing universities and college institutions to make more money by going and diversifying their courses online. So I think in terms of the problem it's solving, it's a huge problem to solve, and if they can do it, huge project. At the moment it says there's 1 billion emerald rockets have been created, but at the moment, up until January next year, only a quarter of that supply is in circulation. So actually there's still a good opportunity to get on board, and I can see this really taking off over the next few weeks. If you're wondering how to buy emerald rockets, I'll leave a link in the description for the website. We can go and check it out. There's loads and loads of resources available on there. This is Matt Byron, the founder. He's made a huge amount of videos on the website, so you can go and take a look. He explains all the different aspects of the project and the prices, etc., that he expects perhaps to see over the next year or so, but up until I think January of next year, where it's obviously going to be starting to introduce more tokens into the market. They're obviously not going to dump 750 million tokens into the market. They're going to slow release, but in terms of a project to hold perhaps through this year, while the rest of the cryptocurrency market is not particularly exciting at the moment, this might be a great opportunity for you. You can go over to SushiSwap, and this is a video that explains exactly how to do it. It's very simple. You can download a MetaMask wallet, and you can use Ethereum or whatever to buy emerald rockets on SushiSwap. You have to use this code, and you copy and paste that code into SushiSwap. Very easy. Definitely go over and check this out, because you know a lot of people are probably regretting not jumping in earlier on. And every time we see these ICOs, and most ICOs will crash early on, but as you can see from the chart I showed you earlier, you know, this is seeing steady growth from the start, which is really positive in my opinion. Another thing, if you're holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, etc., then there's no better place in my opinion to hold it than BlockFi. Okay, so BlockFi is a high interest account, so when the markets are coming down, it's still great that you're getting up to like 4.5%, 5% I think on Bitcoin. Your coins might be losing value, but you're actually getting paid more in that cryptocurrency. Great when the markets are going down, and actually then when you get the gains, you know, you've obviously created more Ethereum, more Bitcoin in your account, so that when that goes back up, you're obviously then holding much more, and it's obviously very positive. So if you're planning on holding Bitcoin or Ethereum for the next 5, 10, 20 years, maybe even just for the next sort of 6 months or so, I really recommend putting it into some sort of interest account where you can get a good yield. In BlockFi it's paid monthly, and the great thing about that is it's going to compound up, so obviously you're going to get paid interest on the interest that gets there. If you were to put in like a fraction of a coin or half a Bitcoin or 0.1 of a Bitcoin or whatever it is, you know, over time you're going to earn more Bitcoin, and potentially you could put in half a Bitcoin and then end up with 1 Bitcoin down the road, which would be great. If you go through the link just down below, you can actually also receive a bonus as well. So if you look at the structure here, you can get up to $250. Obviously you've got to put over $20,000 in to get that, but if you're looking between $100 and $249, you're actually going to get paid $15. So actually just by putting in $100, you're going to make 15% on your investment today. Okay, the rates for exchange and rates for trading are very low, so I really recommend that. And I think you get one free withdrawal every month, which, you know, if you're trading Ethereum, etc., which has quite high fees at the moment, can actually be quite useful. It's backed by the biggest names in crypto: Winklevoss Capital, Coinbase, Galaxy, etc., who I'm sure you have heard of. So it's a very well recognized, very secure platform based in New York. Guys, thanks very much for watching today. I wanted to bring you updates on ICOs, as well as a bit of information about both Ethereum and VE Chain. Obviously still sitting on the fence as we're sort of playing around in the middle of that large pattern, so we could take fairly sizable moves, whether to the downside or the upside, but still and confirming it further. So until we see bigger moves to either the up or the downside inside that pattern, I'm going to be sitting on the fence with regards to my trades. I'm still going to be remaining holding my Ethereum. If we see it drop to the downside, I'll be looking to buy more Ethereum. VE Chain, a very strong project in my opinion. As we know, with slightly smaller market cap coins, we can see a really big shift in price compared with some of the bigger ones like Ethereum and Bitcoin, because it doesn't take so much money to enter the market cap for it to move up in price significantly. It's always worth diversifying your portfolio because it gives you less exposure to risk, but also allows you to potentially make better gains in the marketplace. Guys, thanks very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on the way in. I'll leave the links for Emerald Rockets down below, as well as BlockFi, if you want to go and check those out. Also, you can go and follow me on Twitter, where I also upload my latest videos, and as well keep you updated in between videos when I can. So I'll leave a link for Twitter down below. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll see you again tomorrow with another video. Bye bye.